Stay with me. My mind's about to go crazy. But I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about how identities affect us in our lives and how much we hold on and attach to these identities. And as I think about it, it's like, okay, at your base level, right? Human. All of us are human. Well, unless you believe in certain conspiracy theories where there are some of us that may not be human. Now, I'm not going to say it's true or not true because that's going to go down a rabbit hole that this video we're not trying to go down, right? We can go down that rabbit hole another video. Feel free to comment if you want to go down that rabbit hole too. Anyway, you have human, right? And for me in particular, when you move up, then human breaks into technically two genders. Now, there are more than that in all actuality because some people are born with both genders. And so when you get into that, that gets real complex. That's a whole nother rabbit hole you can run down on how to even go about classifying that. To keep it simple, we just gonna work with the standard binaries, male, female. So for me, human, go down a level, male. Okay. So I'm a human male. Okay. Those that's part of my identity. How I show up in the world, how I perceive the world comes from those different things, right? Then you go down in some more and you look at phenotype because that's very big for people. We like to call it race. It's phenotype. I am what the world would call black. In all actuality, I am a darker skinned human male. Now, I am not the darkest of skin. My skin would technically be brown, so I'm not quite in the middle. If you're looking at a spectrum of colors, I tend to fall on the darker side. I'm not the darkest, but I'm also not necessarily in the middle, and I'm definitely not anywhere in the lightest or fair skin. So we could classify it. It would be classified as black, but black is just as is a race, and it really don't make no sense because race really don't make no sense really all that well to begin with. I don't really like to use it, but let's just say for the sake of saving time, identify black male human, right? Then you start getting deeper into it. And in my case, you start to look at things like, okay, height is a play in there. So a lot of times we look at all the physical things and we'll get into the mental things and stuff like that. But then you run into the physical. And for me in particular, I am what they consider a tall black male. I am 6'8". Been 6'8" since I was 14. So I've been really tall for a long time. Average height of a male in the US is 5'9". I'm almost a foot taller than the average male. So that makes me tall. That influences the way my perception on this world, how I see the world, and how the world sees me back. Correct. And then you could get into like attractiveness. And we're not just talking about like attractions on an individual level. We're talking about attractive across the masses. So I would say that I probably fall a little bit more on the attractive side. If you ask me, I think most people would probably say I fall a little bit more on the attractive side. I'm not the most attractive. And I really don't care if I'm the most attractive or not. That doesn't really bother me. But I do think I fall on the more attractive side. So then you would say attractive, tall, black, human male, right? And then you start looking at things like the way my body shape is and build is. I am lean, athletic, tall, and you just keep going down the rabbit hole, right? I'm just going down the rabbit hole. But as you go down the rabbit hole, what I realize and what I realize and what I think some people may not realize is that each of us, based on these things affect the way we perceive the world and the way the world perceives us. But in all reality, is the way we perceive the world the truth? And I don't believe it is. I was listening to a podcast episode. It's like all these things make us perceive it differently. Like I may look at someone and be like, they're short. Are they actually short? Do I perceive them as short because I'm tall? Or maybe they are average height, but then they're average height for today's world. But if we go back in time, they're technically tall because they're taller than the average height of people as you go further back based off the data. So there's all these different things, right? And it was just making me really think is like this perspective thing is crazy. We really fight wars and go crazy and do all kind of things in this world because of our perspectives on life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these wars shouldn't be fought sometime because I think some of these perspectives lead to people making opinions that influence other people's lives negatively. right? And so you may need to actually get to violence to solve these different things. Now, the point of this video was one of those things is like, I was really just running down a rabbit hole, but identity is a crazy thing. It is a very complex thing. And I think sometimes we don't always give grace for how complex it is. And we think people should identify a certain type of way and they don't. And I'm not gonna lie, I was guilty of this. Like, for a long time, I didn't really understand how complex identity can get. There's several different identities. There's social, there's physical, there's all kind of different identities. And it's like a lot of people are just asking to like be able to be respected for how they identify themselves. And granted, you may not identify and look at them that way, but they just want to be respected for that. And I can't be mad because the more I understand about how I identify, and how people look at me and how people take my identity and then make assumptions and jump to conclusions and make opinions on what I should and shouldn't do in life, I'm realizing like people should be able to identify how they want to identify. Now, identifying the way you want to identify or having a perspective does not necessarily mean that it's the truth. But at the same time, the more I understand like about the truth is like none of us I think actually know the real truth. Not a single person. We have our own little views of what the truth is. And it's like we have these perspectives on it, and the truth is just a big sphere that nobody can see all the way around. And maybe you do know a little bit more than someone else, but at the end of the day, it's like in this human journey, we need to have more grace for the simple fact of like everybody's trying to figure it out. Everybody's not going to be a genius. Everybody's not going to know everything. And so, like, we just need to have a little more grace. Let people identify the way they're going to identify, bro. Like, if that's not the way you want to identify them, you don't necessarily got to be around them. But let people move the way they're going to move because a lot of this stuff is far more complex than we like to get into. This is why someone like me, a neurodivergent brain like mine, can run down the rabbit hole on subjects that may seem so simple, but they're not. Oftentimes I have hard time articulating myself on social media because people's attention span is so terrible and they need the video to be 10 to 20 seconds. And it's like, bro, I can't explain all this in 10 to 20 seconds. We've been on this video for 7 minutes and I still haven't fully been able to really go through and explain identity that well. I've heard people explain it in ways that I think are quite amazing, and like I failed to like do it. But I think me, I'm not so concerned with trying to explain something so you understand it in its wholeness. I think I'm more concerned with just getting people to think. I want people to think, and I like to see how people's minds think. And so as we talk about this identity thing, like this video is long, and it's going to be long. Most of my videos will be long. So if you mess with me, you mess with me. If you don't, you don't. But I just want to say is like identity is complex, but damn near every topic you could go past is complex. So when people say, "Is it that deep?" Yeah, it's that deep. It's always that deep. Everything's that deep. Humans are that deep. The earth is that deep. Reality is that deep. We can go deep on this every single time. So give people grace for those who may not want to go deep, those who cannot go deep, and for those who go deep, give grace. That's it. I'll probably make another video later, but that's all I really wanted to say. Cause my mind right now, like I took my medicine, and it's got my mind focused. I'm running down these rabbit holes, crazy right now, and I don't got nothing else to do because I'm recovering from surgery. So I'm probably gonna make another video for y'all. But if you like how my mind thinks, follow me, like this, click all the buttons. You feel me? Run with me, run down the rabbit holes with me on any platform. Run down the rabbit holes with me, cause that's what my mind does.